There's a giant flock of geese flying outside my window and they're so loud. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. This is Books and Tea and all things me, and I am so glad that you are here today. Today I am finally getting around to showing you guys what I'm going to be reading in the month of December / what I've already read, because it's already like, what, December 9? Yeah, really slow on the ball this time. That sick week that I had there for a while just really threw me off my filming game. So anyways, here I am, and I've made a ridiculously large December TBR. And I know I probably won't get the chance to read them all, but you guys, there's just so many books that I want to read, and I know that a lot of times when I have a very set TBR, sometimes I'm not in the mood for what's left on my TBR, and so this time I thought, why not just give myself a few more to work with, and that way I can still sort of mood read, but I can also mood read what I'm very interested in reading right now. I didn't even count these. I guess I'll do it at the end and I'll tell you how many it is, but it's a lot, like a lot. So let's just get started. So the first book that I actually already read this month at the beginning of December, I think I finished it like the 3rd, was My True Love Gave to Me, and this is a collection of 12 holiday stories put together by Stephanie Perkins. Some of the authors are Rainbow Rowell, Gail Forman, Jenny Han, Holly Black. I wrote little tiny individual reviews for all of these books on my Goodreads account, so if you're interested in seeing what I was thinking at the end of each one, you can check that out, but I'll do more of a in-depth talk about what I thought about this book at the end of the month. However, this was just a really cute holiday read, and I wanted something that was holiday related because nothing else on my list really is, and I wanted something to kind of get me in the Christmas spirit. The second book that I read, and I already returned to the library, was Baba Yaga's Assistant, and this is a graphic novel by Marika Makula. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not really sure, but this is about this old crone basically, and you know, I think this must be like a real story because parts of it seemed very familiar to me, and I thought that maybe I'd seen a movie like that or read a book like this when I was young. But basically it follows the story of a girl who goes and signs up to be the assistant to this old witch. It's pretty, I don't want to say juvenile, but it's like a middle schooler could definitely read it, but it's got pretty cool illustrations and I liked the story, so if you want to check that one out, I would recommend it. And the next book I already read as well. This is the last of the ones that I've actually completed, but it is The Night Circus, and this is by Erin Morgenstern, and this story is so magical. It is about this circus that only operates at night, and there's kind of like this story of this big wizarding battle, this big magic battle between the two main characters that is amidst this night circus. That's sort of like their arena for the big challenge and the big game that they're playing. I don't want to say what I thought about this because I think I'm going to do a separate video review on this, but I was really excited to read this one this month, and I'm so glad that I did. Okay, so now we're going to get into the books that I'm currently reading, and the first book is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I am buddy reading this with Raul from Latin Lector, so if you haven't checked out his channel before, please check him out. He's an awesome, one of few male booktubers, and he commented on, I think, my book haul or one of my videos, and said that he was reading this month too, so I said let's read it together, and we're really enjoying it so far. I'm like 192 pages in, and this is so awesome. So this is a story about a girl named Kath who goes off for her freshman year in college, and she writes fan fiction for this series called Simon Snow, I think is what the name is, but it basically is our equivalent of Harry Potter, and she writes fan fiction, so alternate stories or alternate endings for the characters that are within that world of Simon Snow, and it's kind of just her struggles as she goes through having to be separated from her twin sister in her first year of college, and yeah, it's super good so far. I'm so excited that I'm finally reading this one. The other book that I'm reading is Confess by Colleen Hoover, and I haven't gotten far enough in it yet to really know, and I haven't read the back, so I'm just going to tell you what I do know. It follows two perspectives, a girl and a boy. The guy is an artist, and that's where the name of this book comes in. His art studio is called Confess, and he has encouraged passerbys or people that are out in the city of Dallas, I believe is where it's set, to write down all of their deepest, darkest confessions on sheets of paper, and they put them somewhere where he can gather them anonymously, and he creates art based on those confessions. Auburn, our main character, she is looking for a way to make extra money, and she sees a help wanted sign on his art studio, and so she goes in and she helps him with one of his showings, and now it's just getting to the point where they're starting to hang out outside of that setting and get to know each other, and there's something creepy going on here. That's all I have to say. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm really into this so far. This is my first Colleen Hoover book, and I am really loving it. I'm absolutely flying through it. Okay, so the next books that I'm reading this month are Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising, and these are by Leigh Bardugo, and they are the second and the third books in the Grisha trilogy. I started reading the first book, Shadow and Bone, with Karen from A Simple Cup of Tea last month, and we buddy read that one together and we loved it. We're both fangirling over it and decided to continue on and finish the series together this month, so we're gonna be reading these. We're both reading Fangirl right now as well, so probably when we finish that book we will pick these up, and I'm so excited to see what happens next. I love this world. I love the Russian themes and the Russian culture in this. It's just so cool, so I cannot wait to get back in this world. The next books that I would like to get to this month are The Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian, and these are books 4 and 5 in Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson the Olympian series. I'm not going to talk about these a lot because these are the last 2 books in the series, but basically if you don't know what Percy Jackson is, which you should because I've talked about it a lot on my channel already and everybody else does too, it's about Greek mythology and adventures and quests, and it's funny and it's action-packed and it's amazing, so I'm really hoping to finish this series. The next book is one that I did not get to from my November TBR, and that is Fire Study, and this is the last book in the Study series by Maria V. Schneider. I love this series. It's another magic series. The first book, Poison Study, it's about a girl named Yelena who is sentenced to death for a murder that she's committed, and she's given the opportunity to become the king's food taster in exchange for her life, but knowing full well that she could die doing that job. And so this is the third book, and it just kind of continues with her adventures and discovering this magic that she has, and it's so good. I gave the first 2 books 5 stars each. I love this series and I cannot wait to finish it. The next book that I'm hoping to get to this month, and I'm probably gonna read this one because I've had this on hold at my library and I had to wait quite a long time for it to become available, and that is Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. I loved the first 2 books to this series. This is the third one and the final in the trilogy of the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. This series is so awesome. It's so magical. It's so whimsical, but there's also this dark part of it, and it's got really cool photos. I heard a couple people say that they're disappointed in the photos in this one, like these are kind of his leftovers that he wasn't able to put into the first 2 books, and so I think I'm still really going to be happy with the storyline of this book, but I'm anticipating that the pictures aren't going to be quite as good, which is kind of a bummer. I just can't wait to see what happens, what the final chapter of this story is, and I'm just really excited that these are getting made into movies too. I hope they do the whole trilogy and not just the first book, because that would be amazing. And the final actual novel that I'm going to be reading this month, I'm going to do the graphic novels last here, is Uprooted, and this is by Naomi Novik, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with Grace from Grace with a Book in Her Face. We buddy read a book together last month, and I asked her if she wanted to do this one this month because I really enjoyed getting to know her, and we even got to the point where we were just texting back and forth just to ask how each other's days were going, and I just thought that that was really awesome, and I wanted to continue to build that relationship with her. So we're gonna pick up this one. I'm so excited to read this. This is a story about a town that lives on the edge of this evil woods, and this woods is very powerful and has a lot of evil within it, and the people need protection from it. So there's this old wizard that lives right on the edge of the woods, and in exchange for the protection that he can provide for them, he takes a girl every 10 years from the village, and our main character gets taken, and I've heard really awesome things about this. I've heard it's a very beautiful world. What I would picture when I would think about my dream fantasy world is what this world sounds like it's gonna be. So I'm just really excited to get to this, and I cannot wait to read it with Grace. I just want to mention also that I'm gonna try to get to all the little novellas that go along with all 3 of the series that I'm finishing this month. So that would be the Grisha trilogy, the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and the study series, and just get to those so that I can like completely wrap up those series. Okay, so let's jump into the graphic novels. I have 5 here, and I know you guys, this is turning into a really long video, and this is turning into me wondering how on earth I'm ever gonna finish all this stuff, but whatever I don't get to, I will get to next month. And I just saw that they actually had some graphic novels I was interested in my library, like on the shelves, which never happens. I always have to wait for them to come from other surrounding libraries because we really don't have a great selection. But I saw Nimona and I had to get it. I had to know what this was all about. Basically, I think this follows the story of a girl who wants to be the sidekick for this big villain, and so yeah, and I like the art style on this. It's very cartoonish. Maybe that's not the right word. I don't know how to describe artwork, but I'm really interested in this, and I hope I really enjoy it. The next graphic novel that I want to read, and this is a series that I'm continuing and I am currently loving, and that is Saga Volume 3. I started this last month and I read the first 2 volumes and I absolutely loved them, and I cannot wait to see what happens next in this series. Look at this steamy picture. Woo, man. I think this is gonna get a little risque, as if it wasn't already. Yeah. The next 2 graphic novels that I picked up were also on the shelf at my library, and I was like, oh my gosh, sweet. So I got Ms. Marvel, Volume 1, which is called No Normal, and Volume 2, which is called Generation Y. I've heard really good things about this graphic novel series. I think these might be the only 2 that are out, but do not quote me on that because I have no idea. I've heard several people talk about these on their channels, and I just thought it seemed like a really good like girl power Marvel series, and so I wanted to give it a try. I think I'm gonna really like these. I'm excited. And lastly, yes, I'm finally to the last book, is Lock and Key Volume 2, Head Games, and this is by Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez. I started this graphic novel series last month as well, and I really loved it. This is kind of a horror, supernatural, fantasy. It's got a little bit of everything in this series. It was quite violent in the first one, but basically something tragic happens at the beginning of Volume 1 to this family, and they have to move into this house called Key House. This is a magical house. Certain doors cause certain weird things to happen, and sketchy stuff happens, and it's all very supernatural and very fantastical, and there was some major shit going down in the first one, so I can't wait to see what happens in this one. I really like the main characters in this. I like the kids and the family, especially the youngest one, and I can't think of what his name is right now, but that's okay. He's really cute. Look at him. You can kind of see him right there. He's cute. Okay, guys. Ugh. That didn't work. But you saw the pile. I'm reading a lot of books this month, so wish me luck. I'm really excited. There's just so many good books out there right now that I have not read, and part of that is just due to the fact that I'm pretty new to BookTube, and before this I was reading a lot of things that nobody's ever heard of that weren't that great because they were free things that I got on my Kindle, and when I went to the library I just didn't know what to pick up. So I'm just so thankful for this community for introducing me to all these awesome books. I just love them. So that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!